Today's topic of discussion is the importance of visualization and clairvoyance training. So, visualization is a bit of a controversial topic right now regarding esoterica. Many schools traditionally say that this isn't very important. However, if any of you have ever been following the 60 Skills curriculum, you'll find that visualization training is in fact an integral part of training in general, and especially important towards the development of clairvoyance. Why is this? Well, clairvoyance, or your subtle sense of sight, is a form of visualization. Now, it's not as simple as that, because as we've discussed many times in this coursework, other components of that involve clairsentience, energy building, and of course, the ability to hold your sense of concentration. But ultimately, visualization can be broken down into one of two approaches. There's internalized visualization, where you close your eyes, and this is primarily used in things like out-of-body projection, mental wandering in my system, or as other systems sometimes describe it, astral travel. Now, clairvoyance, the way a lot of people conceive it, the ability to see subtle things with your eyes open in the environment around you, is another important part of training. This, in general, requires a practitioner to not only develop their ability to push into the subtle with their eyes open, but also, most importantly, requires a fair amount of subtle energy in the immediate environment around them. Now, why is this? Well, things that exist subtly, for the most part, don't have physical bodies. Since they don't have physical bodies, they don't have breath, and therefore the amount of astral energy that they have access to is rather limited. In short, they're not emitting much to see. So, the use of visualization and energy training allows a practitioner to pack an environment with more of what we call astral or subtle energy. This in turn gives the mental manifestation of these things something to reflect off of. This is also one of the reasons why subtle senses like clairvoyance and clairaudience tend to be rather cyclic in nature. Even people who have relatively advanced skills in this aren't essentially turned on all the time. Now, what are some things that can influence this? Well, when you're developing your clairvoyance or visualization skills, what you'll find is astrologically, as the moon goes through its phase and becomes a full moon, there's more astral or subtle energy available for things to reflect off of. As the size of the moon decreases or goes to the new moon state, the amount of ambient energy tends to decrease. Now, the reason for this is rather simple. Lunar energy largely affects the astral, and it is a function of the sun or solar energy reflecting off of the moon, turning into astral energy. So this is again the reason why as the moon gets full, astral phenomena tend to be more common. Now, the flip side of this is this results in a condensation of energy in the near physical, which for a lot of people makes out-of-body projection a bit more difficult. So most people will find that out-of-body projection in the associated visions or visualizations that come with that become much clearer as the moon gets smaller and goes into its new moon phase. So this is just some basic stuff involving that. Now, getting back to the issue of visualization writ large. Visualization directly impacts clairvoyance, so it's one of the primary training tools in working with some of your clair skills. What are some of the other clair skills? Well, you've got clairsentience, or your subtle sense of touch. This increases sensitivity towards what we nebulously call energy in esoterics. So clairsentience is a way of training your energy sensitivity. Clairvoyance is a way of training your visual sensitivity. And clairaudience, of course, trains your auditory sensitivity. Now, there is an additional category of training available known as clairgustinance, which is your subtle sense of smell and subtle sense of taste. This, in general, doesn't receive a whole lot of attention in the esoteric community, because overall, if you're interested in talking or interacting with the subtle world, it is, by all means, the least important of those in the short term. However, in the long term, clairvoyance involves fire element in the body, clairaudience, air element, clairsentience, water element, and clairgustance, or your subtle sense of smell and taste, deal with earth element. This is one of the reasons why people with advanced clairvoyance and clairaudience tend to be a little energetically imbalanced, because they're not working with that earth element aspect very much. Now, in terms of visualization training, I do have one exciting announcement to make. One of my closest students and most advanced students is currently road mapping a comprehensive system for training clairvoyance. He's going through the testing phase right now, and it's going to probably take the better part of a year for the coursework to become available. But when it is, for those of you who've already purchased my clairvoyance training, I'm going to modify that training, and that will already be available to you for free if you've already purchased the coursework. The simple fact of the matter is, most people with really good clairvoyance and clairaudience come by it naturally. And of course, jokingly, we all hate them. The rest of us, however, it's simply a matter of putting the work in. And as I said, a student of mine is working on a comprehensive method for doing this. In theory, this should allow just about anybody to develop clairvoyance within 90 to 180 days. And I'll put some more updates out there as that training continues to advance and go forward. But again, clairvoyance is critical, because if you can't see the subtle world, it's very difficult to interact with it. And the primary tool for training this involves various visualization exercises, whether that's visualization of moving energy through the body, in and out of the eye gates, so on and so forth, or creating your own living movie in front of you, packing that with astral energy, and then now allowing it to reflect off of itself. So again, there's no shortcut to this unless you were just born with the ability. However, what I will add is that those people who are born or naturals with this kind of thing tend to have some pretty interesting limitations regarding what they can see. Only people who've engaged in comprehensive training seem to develop a full spectrum of subtle vision from which to work. So, if you liked today's discussion, please hit the like button down below and consider subscribing to the channel. Additionally, if you take the details portion of the video down below, you'll find a variety of other resources that you can look into to learn how to do some of these things. Otherwise, train hard and be well.